There's pain in your loved one's eyes, and you just know that something isn't right. Out of best intentions, the dreaded question is popped. What's wrong? Most people see this as a social standard or the right thing to do when something feels off. But for those of us who struggle with depression or bipolar disorder, this can trigger a wave of negative consequences. I've had the honor of many people reaching out to me for help when times get overwhelming. Helping others has given me a lot of insight into what helps and what doesn't. I found that people can call me and sound like they're doing just fine at first, but when I ask what's wrong or is everything okay, the floodgates of emotions break open. It's like an instant reminder that everything's not okay. It's almost as if I said, I'm okay and you're not, so let me help you. Of course, there's a chance that the person might think, wow, someone actually does care about me and that everything will be just fine. But I've found that more often it just makes things worse, especially in a crisis situation. I ask, what's wrong? And it's almost like having to relive everything bad that led up to the nasty feelings. I've experienced that myself. Someone asks why I'm having a bad day, and just explaining everything that happened reminds me of it all again, and soon enough I'm in tears or totally revved up and pissed off again. It's like a catch-22. You want to help, you're offering help, and then you feel discouraged because the person gets worse. Let's look into this a little deeper so we can become more efficient at helping others. It usually starts with the classic question, how's it going or how are you today? Someone gives the classic automated response of, good, I'm fine. And it's obvious that that's not the case. I used to say, I'm fine, all the time when I wasn't, because I simply didn't want to be reminded of what's bothering me. So of course, out of social courtesy, this progresses to the next question of what's wrong? They respond, nothing, and it causes a frustrating impasse. Here's the weird thing about language and the way we relate to it. When you ask someone what's wrong, it basically correlates their depression with the word wrong. Experiencing depression isn't wrong. It might not be how we'd like to feel, but that doesn't mean it's wrong to feel that way. It subconsciously stigmatizes the uncomfortable feelings as wrong, causing people to fake it until they make it, as they say. For those of us who deal with cyclic depression like bipolar disorder, sometimes we just get depressed for no reason at all. It feels like nothing and everything is wrong at the same time. Sometimes we don't know what's specifically wrong. All we know is that we feel horrible for no reason, and it causes a lot of stress to try and come up with a logical explanation for the feelings that really don't have one. In that case, it's almost like saying, explain yourself when you ask what's wrong. Asking this can also cause someone to look for unhealthy outlets or misdirected reasons to explain or justify why they feel so bad inside. This can cause the depression or bad feelings to be misdirected toward others around them. Here's the worst impasse. Many of our loved ones might already feel like they're walking on eggshells around us. They feel like they're doing their best to show they care by asking us what's wrong. They truly feel like they're offering their support, and then we blow our top because we feel like they just don't get it or they never listen to us. Can you see where this can get confusing and ugly? This usually happens when the person trying to help can't relate to the depth of our symptoms. If they've never experienced paralyzing depression, it's like trying to describe colors to the blind or teach swimming to someone who's never been in the water. When they keep asking what's wrong, it's like asking why, but why, when there isn't a why. We run out of patience and all they see is irrational anger instead of the inner struggle that's going on inside of us. They feel like we don't appreciate their help while we feel that they just don't get it. People with a lot of empathy feel so rewarded by helping others, so this can also cause people to push. They want the satisfaction of feeling like they helped us, and sometimes they'll keep pushing with the assumption that eventually we'll just explain what's wrong to them. In a situation like this, it's a lot more helpful to ask things like, how are you feeling right now? Or is there anything I can do to help? Using statements instead of questions can also be helpful. Examples would be, I care about you a lot and let me know if you want to chat. Or, let's get out of here and go for a quick walk, or just a simple, I'm here for you and I love you. It's important to say these things with the utmost sincerity to prevent an emotional wall from being put up. Also, actions can speak so much louder than words. If words aren't working, a hug might, or making us some hot tea. The smallest gesture can make the world of difference if someone's suffering with depression. It's also very important for us to see the innocence of someone trying to help. We're the ones with the inexplicable feelings, so it helps if we understand that it's normal for others to not get what we go through if they can't relate to it. In a situation like this, take a minute and help teach them to be a better mental health ally. You can say, look, there's times where I feel horrible for no reason. That's part of how I experience depression. I'm trying to work on not blaming the way I feel on external things, so it would help me a lot if you'd just spend time with me instead of trying to get me to explain something that I don't have an answer to at this moment. So many of us who have bipolar disorder are still trying to make sense of it ourselves. Getting diagnosed raises just as many questions as answers in our life. It's confusing enough for us, so can you imagine how hard it is for someone who doesn't even experience clinical depression to relate to it or understand? We have to see the innocence in that. If you truly care about a relationship with someone and don't want the bipolar disorder to deteriorate it, you have to both find ways to bridge that gap. This is done by learning as much as you possibly can about bipolar disorder and then doing something to turn that knowledge into wisdom. Those of us who have bipolar disorder must take our treatment, sobriety, and choices very seriously, while our loved ones need to do their part to learn about how we experience life. If your loved one was diagnosed with an incurable illness, wouldn't you want to know a little more about it? I can't stress how important it is for both parties to do their part. If you're dating someone who refuses treatment, that's not going to cut it. If you're doing everything you can to treat the illness while your partner doesn't even want to hear about it, that's going to cause a lot of problems too. The only and best relationships that I've had with others in my life were with those who put forth the effort to meet me halfway. A little information and understanding can go so far in helping us maintain healthy relationships with those we love. I hope with all these videos that I make will help some of you find a little more peace and balance in your life. That's exactly why I started Polar Warriors. I'm so happy that the channel has become a well-known and well-needed resource in the mental health community. You are very welcome here and absolutely not alone. If you need some help understanding bipolar disorder, that's what I'm here for. I'm happy to offer one-on-one coaching for partners, families, and those that have bipolar disorder. You can also contact me directly anytime through our amazing Patreon community. I also have a lot of content that isn't on YouTube, so if you'd like to take your Polar Warrior experience to the next level, check it out. It costs about as much as a cup of coffee each month, and you can message me anytime. I try my best to respond to messages daily, so if you need help, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. There's a link at the top of every video description that'll take you there. As always, thank you so much for watching and interacting with my videos. Even just liking a video can increase the chances that others will find it on YouTube, so thank you for helping me help others. Take care, be gentle on yourselves, and I hope you'll stop by the channel again soon for another Polar Warrior video.